pretty cool, man.
Thanks.
Really cool.
The truck's significantly looser than yesterday. I can definitely feel the difference. Probably a little too loose, a little too squirrely. I'm gonna tighten them up a bit. Turn here. All right, let's give that a try. Something is rattling underneath. Sounds different than yesterday. Sounds like something's kind of loose. Something's definitely loose. It shouldn't sound like this. Oh, whoa, what was that? So as I look at it, I can see that my belt is not aligned with the wheel properly. So I need to fix that. Okay, so I got the both trucks tightened up, and I fixed the alignment on my belt. So I should be good to go now. Oh, gotta turn it on. All right. All right. I don't like those big bumps. So my board is making sounds that makes me think that my belts are not in the right place. Both belts are about halfway off the wheel pulley. I think my truck mounts are too loose, so maybe I have to use some Loctite on that. Getting ready to take it out for a ride. Now, I rode it yesterday, but these belts came loose. I ended up adding Loctite to these nuts right here, so hopefully they won't work themselves loose today as I ride, but we'll see. So we're going to turn it on. Got 87% battery left, which should be plenty for the day. I'm just coasting downhill right now. It's kind of cold out today. Other than the cold, it feels pretty good. Now we're going uphill. Tighten this up a bit. See if that helps out. Let's continue. Already feels better. Kind of squirrely now for some reason, so I'm going to check it out, see if anything wrong. Belts look okay, not too bad. Alright, I'm gonna take it on home. Yeah, it feels kind of weird. So YouTube, if you recall, when I originally started this build, I had the motors facing the back of the board. I was able to do it this way because I was unaware that for longboards, the kingpin, which is this thing right here, on the trucks, face the opposite direction that the kingpins face on a regular skateboard. Here's a regular skateboard truck. Notice that the kingpin is facing the inside. Likewise on that one, kingpin facing the inside. So that's how I originally had the kingpin set up on my electronic skateboard. On my first attempt to ride this board, it actually turned in the opposite direction that you expected. So I would lean to the left and it would turn right. I would lean to the right, it would turn left. Fortunately, I wasn't going very fast, so I didn't fall or anything like that, but I was pretty confused until I looked up some videos and got a better understanding of kingpin trucks. So I had to turn my trucks around the other direction. Well, unfortunately, with these caliber 2 trucks, they're made for what they refer to as the premium motor mounts only go on in one direction. I can put them on in the back, but they would be facing downward, and that would be pretty dangerous for them. In fact, they might even touch the ground. I'm not sure. I didn't even try it. So anyway, the design of these mounts forced me to have to put these motors on underneath. That was my next issue. And if you can see underneath here, there's very little clearance between the ground and the motor. The second problem that I had was that these mounts were moving to the side and causing the belt to slip off of the wheel pulley. And when that happens, you can feel that while you're riding. It feels unstable, gives like a vertical type of sensation. It forced me to have to stop and readjust these mounts. And I ended up buying these M4 bolts and putting them into these extra holes that weren't being used in order to get these mounts to stay put. The other result of the truck being turned around the other direction is that my wires from my motors were now coming underneath the board and hitting to the other side of my vest box. So I had to turn my entire vest box around backwards from my original configuration. So now my wires are intruding on top of my board, and basically I don't like it. The wires, I could really deal with that, but when I ride, I'm very nervous about running over something that's going to hit my motors because my motors hang down so low. So my solution to this problem are these mounts. I found these caliber 2 mounts, and with these mounts I can angle the motors to any desired position. I do have some concerns about whether or not they're stable enough, whether or not they'll break on me, and I have some concerns about whether or not or how I'm going to get the motor to stay put and my belts not to come loose with this design of the mount. This mount includes the bracket. This part holds the motor. This part goes around the truck. The caliber 2 truck fitted piece right here. This is the shape of the caliber 2 truck, and the hardware with some Allen wrenches to help with the assembly. And it has some instructions here. I'll put a link to this in the description for this video. This is the clamp that was on the mount that I was using. There was a bolt that went through right about here, and I could not get that sucker off. I was able to get the clamp on the other side off, but I had to get a screw extractor. So you had to drill into the bolt and then take the screw extractor and go in, and it has threads that go the opposite direction. And I was able to back the screw out. On this one, I broke 2 drill bits trying to do the same thing. So eventually I got tired of it. I decided I was gonna have to just saw this bolt in half. You know, there was like a little crack right there where I was able to take this hacksaw, and I just sawed right through it. The other significant problem that I ran into was getting the motor pulley off of the motor. I took the set screws out of the pulleys and tried to pull it off by hand. Wouldn't work. I tried to pry it off, wouldn't work. I finally had to go out to the hardware store and I bought this device. This is a pulley puller. These arms right here go underneath the plate, you know, so the pulley's on top of the plate. And this little needle right here, this pushes down on the shaft, you know, so the pulley's going to be right here. This is going to be underneath the plates, and you just crank down on this arm right here, and you just use that to push the shaft down, and the pulley gets pulled up right off the shaft. I also had to apply heat to that pulley to make it expand a little bit. That helped take the pulleys off fairly easily once I figured that out. And boom, just like that, we're done. No more motors underneath the board. Motors are now coming out the back. Wires going to the back. So everything is now set up the way I originally intended. That was easy, right? Heck no. I couldn't believe how hard this was. Not this particular setup, but getting the old setup apart was unbelievably challenging. Getting these pulleys off of the motor shaft, I could not believe how hard it was to do that. And getting the mount off of the trucks was also extremely difficult. But I finally did get it together. I just tested everything out. Everything is working again. Note that every time you disconnect or rearrange the wires for your vest, you have to do the programming all over again. It's not that big a deal, but just something to note. I didn't know it the first time I did that. So now when I'm riding, I'm no longer fearful that I'm going to break my motors if I hit something. My comfort level when I ride is much better. These mounts, I have to say I like them. I wasn't expecting to like them that much, but I like them a lot more now that I got them on and I've got a chance to see how they're designed. I like that the C-clamp for these mounts are very tight. Some of the caliber 2 trucks looks like they were done that way by design, and I'm fairly confident. I have a high level of confidence that those mounts are going to move from side to side. So I like the way they designed that. The other part of the mount, I don't know what you call this, you know, the part that comes out and holds the motors, it's a little thinner than the previous one, so that makes me a little nervous, but they seem strong enough. I have heard people say that they can break. I haven't seen evidence of that with the little experience I've had with these so far. So far, so good. One ride and nothing changed, nothing slipped, nothing made me nervous, and I'm pretty happy about it. But we'll see how this works out. So here's the board. Just powering on. All right, remote's on, connected. So let's go. Downhill at this point. Very smooth on the brakes. conclusion to this video, I recommend the more flexible motor mount, but be careful with the placement of the C-clamp. Once it's in place, it is very difficult to move, and I believe that's by design. The link to this motor mount is in the description. That the motor pulleys are very difficult to remove. Leave a comment in this video if you're interested in seeing exactly how I did this. You want to be sure it's safe to ride, and there's a lot that can go wrong, so be careful, test it, make sure it's safe to ride. Please ride with a helmet and other safety gear as necessary. I have future videos planned where I will be displaying other safety gear that I purchased just for this very purpose. Remember, you can check out the description in this video for gear that I recommend using. In my next video, I plan to cover my vest, the Better Electronic Speed Controller. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.